Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going fabulous. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to create a card with the Spellbinders Large Die of the Month Club Kit. This is a 10-piece cutting die set that is delivered to your door this month. And if you want to know more details, I'll leave the Spellbinders shop link down below. You can head on over and check it out, but it is a club kit subscription. And this month you get a slimline die. I am so super excited about this because this is the first slimline die that I've used from Spellbinders. So this is called the Slimline Kaleidoscope Hearts die. You get the main background piece, which is very dainty and pretty. And then you get some layering flowers. And then you get some flourishes. I'm going to call the flourishes a lefty and a righty. And then you also get different size layering flowers. So you get the base layer and then you get a little detail layer. So you can die cut out with different colors of cardstock. I'm not going to use the mid size. I'm just going to use the small and the large flower for my project today. This set also has the 3 real pretty hearts. You can see here the middle one just cuts out the decorative detail. The other 2 cut out a heart shape. And then you also get that small heart die that can cut out windows. So we are going to jump in, and this is how I create my card bases. I have a standard sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I'm going to bring in my scoreboard. Just place my cardstock on my scoreboard, and you can see the die itself will cut out a panel that almost measures 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So our die itself is just slightly smaller. I scored at the 3.5 inch mark. I'm going to fold it over, and then I'm going to reinforce that score line with my bone folder here. And then we'll put our scoreboard aside and bring in our paper trimmer. I like to create my card bases this way because I have that extra panel that I can use for card fronts or layering. But I'm going to take my paper trimmer and trim at the 3.5 inch mark here. So then we have our card base, and then we have an extra panel. The extra panel size that we have is 4 inches. So you're going to have about 1/2 inch left over from your card front. I'm going to go ahead and trim that off right now because we're going to use that as part of our card today. I'm just going to trim a 1/2 inch off. You can use that for sentiment if you want, but that's how I create my card bases. Now we are going to do some die cutting. For my decorative large slimline piece, I'm going to bring in some pale pink cardstock. We're going to make a little room here. That is so pretty. You can see here it lines up beautifully. It'll fit on your panel, your 3.5 inch by 8.5 inch panel, but when you die cut it out, it is just slightly smaller than your card base. There's my pale pink cardstock. I'm going to die cut out a front panel with that, and then I'm going to take my flowers. I'm going to take the layering piece, the smaller layering piece, and die cut out some pale pink with that, and then I'm going to bring in some. This looks like it's very bright neon green, but my lighting, I'm filming this in the evening, and so my lighting is not the greatest. It's actually a very soft green. I'm going to go ahead and add my lefty and my righty leaves, and then for my base flower, I'm going to be using this kind of a rosy pink cardstock. This is actually left over from our card kit this month. I'm going to use that to cut out the base of my flowers. For this white panel, I'm going to take my heart die from the kit this month. Using the die itself as a guide, I'm going to add the die insert. I'll tape it down, and then I'm going to just use it basically for placement. I'm going to die cut out 3 heart windows in this panel. So I'll just add tape to the inside of it so I can lift up my die. But I'll do that 3 times on that panel to create 3 windows here. So I'm going to do all my die cutting and come back, and we're going to assemble our card. I thought it'd be nice to create a shaker card with this beautiful die. And so that's what we're going to do today. Now these are the white pieces, and these are the little pink hearts that are from the die cuts from when we die cut out our panel there. Keep those because you can use those on another card. But this is basically what the front of my card's going to look like. You have that decorative detail piece on top of my windows. I think that just looks so pretty. Okay, I did keep the hearts for when I die cut out that decorative panel. I wanted pink hearts in my background. So we're going to actually take these and I'm going to use that same die that we used to cut out the windows. You can see these are from this panel here, but they are slightly bigger than the ones that we die cut out earlier with the white cardstock. I'm going to take that same die and die cut out these hearts once more. It's only going to take just a sliver off, but I want to inlay these in that white panel. You can see you don't take much off. Actually, those would be cute on a card too. We'll keep those. So I have 3 hearts that we can inlay with the white. And then I also trimmed down a white cardstock panel to go behind my white panel. I thought we would add a little shading to our pale pink cardstock here. I'm bringing in worn lipstick, Distress Oxide ink, and then just using my blending brush, I'm going to shade from the bottom of the heart up to about the halfway mark, just so we have a little bit of two-tone and it's not just the pale pink. I thought this would just add a little bit of softness to those hearts. We'll do our last one here. For the flowers, I'll show you how to, it's very easy to layer them together, guys, but I did quite a few off camera, you can see there. Okay, hearts are all done. Next, I think, you know what, here's our clear view sheet. I trimmed down a piece that will fit behind my windows, and I started to glue my hearts, and I realized that my glue's out. I gotta get another tube of glue. I think there's still some in there though. I just should have stored my glue upside down. This glue, the Journey glue that I use, is kind of thick, and so if you get down to the bottom of it, you want to make sure that you store it upside down so all the glue goes to the bottom. No worries, I had an extra tube, which is great. I'm going to go ahead and add glue behind my hearts, line up my hearts on my background panel, and then inlay each one of these hearts in the window piece. Now I haven't glued down that window piece, but I am lining it up so it lines up beautifully. Now once they're inlaid, I'm going to carefully lift up the window panel, and I think that looks wonderful. I'm gonna, you know what, I'm gonna add a little bit of glue behind my window panel. Go ahead and add my clear view sheet. Clear view sheets are nice. They're just clear acetate sheets. Great quality, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and add this behind my window. And I do have a little bit overhanging. I'll just use my scissors and trim that off. And I like the way the hearts look so much that I thought we'd do a little bit of shading on our window panel too. So I'll bring back in my craft mat here and just do shading all around the edges of my window panel here with that same worn lipstick. Once I have this done, I love the way this looks, just to add some softness. We're going to go ahead and create our shaker. We're going to flip over our window panel, or actually our decorative panel. This is what our Slimline die created. We're going to add a thin layer of glue on the edges, and then I also added a thin layer of glue around my hearts. We're going to go ahead and adhere that to our window panel. So this is all set to go. But I just think this looks so soft and so pretty. Very dainty card. I love the way this looks. Okay. Window panel's done. We're going to flip it over. I'm going to add some very thin strips of foam adhesive. I'm not going to add it actually behind my window frame. I thought we would add it behind our panel here. I think it's going to be a lot easier to line up, and I think we can use our hearts that we inlaid as a guide. I added it around all the edges, and I'm only doing one layer. I'm not using sequins for my shaker. I'm using some confetti, so it's a little bit thinner and I can get away with one layer. But I found that if you remove the release paper off of your foam tape, you can go around your heart beautifully. And instead of clipping it all the way off, I'm just going to use that extra piece as a little bit more support on the inside of my window. I'm going to do that with all 3 hearts. Just go around the hearts. That way they're individual little shakers, and then we'll remove the release paper so our background's good to go. Next, these are the confetti pieces that I'm going to be using. They're really pretty. They're like iridescent. They're called Confetti Sparkle Elements. And if If Spellbinders still has them, I'll link them down below. But it's a good set. In fact, when I opened the jar, this is the first time I've used it, it was jam-packed with confetti pieces. But they are awful pretty and do have a pink tint to them. I'm going to use my little craft spoon and spoon in each one of my shaker windows. Once they're filled, I'm going to go ahead and add the top piece. Just, you want to make sure you line it up and then press, because I don't think you get a second chance at this. Because the static from the confetti pieces kept wanting to go to the acetate. But I think it looks just so pretty. Love the way this looks. These are our little flowers. I'm going to use that same container to add my extra pieces of confetti there. I'm going to add glue behind this panel and then adhere it to my Slimline card. I don't make very many of these, but they sure are pretty. And they do fit in the standard business envelope. I like the number 9 envelopes because they're a little bit smaller and it looks a little bit more custom. But I love the way this looks. Since I used glue, I was pressing down just so it adhered. There's my little 3 shaker windows. Now we're going to create our flowers here. Actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll create our flowers. I'm going to add a little dot of glue on the base of our darker pink flower. Punch out the hole of this one. And then they're very easy to line up. You can kind of tell how to twist it and turn it. You just kind of twist and turn it, that top layer, until it fits. That's how I can describe it. Very easy to do. I'm going to grab my jewel picker here, kind of position it, and then just adhere our top layer. And we have a beautifully decorated flower. I did that quite a few times with the with these dies. We'll layer this one, turn it a little bit. Now before we go any further, I am going to stamp my sentiment. I'm going to bring in the stamp of the clear stamp of the month club kit. There's a sentiment in there that says Happy Valentine's Day. I'm going to take that and stamp that on that same pale pink cardstock that I use for my decorative slimline piece. I'm just going to stamp with black ink. I just trimmed it down, blocked it off, and then popped it up with foam adhesive and placed that in the center of my heart there. Okay, now we're going to add our leaves first. The leaves are nice, like I mentioned before. I call them a lefty and a righty because they can go around your heart. I think that's just so pretty. This is the righty here. You can see that kind of curls up on the end there. This one does the same thing, but it does it opposite. I'm going to go ahead and add my flowers. The leaves I glued down. My flowers I did pop up with foam adhesive. And so all that's left to do is add my single leaves here. I want to add 2 to the very end of our hearts. And I think that looks just so pretty. Very dainty little card, perfect for girls. Okay, last but not least, I am going to take some clear gems. These have that same iridescent tint to them, that pinkish iridescent tint you can see. I'm going to add those to the center of my flowers just for a little added sparkle. But I love the way this turned out. I love that Spellbinders is now creating slimline cards, or not cards, but slimline dies. I love that. But thank you so much for joining me, guys. Again, this is called the Slimline Kaleidoscope Hearts. It is the large die of the month club kit from Spellbinders for January 2021. I want to thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic day. Happy New Year to you. And we will see you again real soon, guys. Bye-bye.